This sun, painted red by the nearby wildfires, was our final glimpse of Spain. The next morning, we woke up to the most beautiful fog, lying like a thin layer over the rural land. It was like watching fairies dance, right on the border to someplace new. Maybe it was the first sign of something magical waiting for us. I really wanted to tell you the story of how we traveled from that moment to standing on the edge of a cliff, somewhere in Portugal, watching the sunset with a stranger and her dog. But the truth is that I can't, because this time there isn't a story leading up to this very moment. You see, meeting Linda and Billie on the road felt like reconnecting with old friends from another life, as if our souls has known each other for centuries. It wasn't planned. I guess nothing ever is when you live in a van, but I am sure our paths were always meant to cross, right here on this coastline. And so in the blink of an eye, and without really knowing how it all happened, there were the four of us, exploring one of the most beautiful places on Earth. Our days became pure, everything stripped away. No clutter, no pressure to be anywhere or do anything specific. It felt like we were truly living in the moment. We were free, in every sense of the word, chasing nothing but the unknown. We fell into this rhythm where time stopped mattering and each day slowly flowed into the next. Something as simple as two cars following each other through a barren landscape with dry earth underneath our wheels, while the sun cast shadows on the pale, dusty road, all of a sudden felt like everything. Even though I might fail to explain how it all began, there is still a story. One about freedom and friendship, about chasing a dream, about a different way to live this life, where we have less, but become so much more. A story about how the world always belongs to the brave, and about what truly matters in life. So, do you want to come along?
Good morning, guys. It's 7:30 in the morning and we are about to walk down to the beach to have a coffee to the sunrise.
Nej Billie, en kaffe! Hon klev nästan i kaffen. Alltså morgon, det är fan livet. Ja, det är det.
As high as the moon falling down to you, I was a sea of stars shining bright for you. I was on my way back to you, but I was only falling backwards now. On my way back to you, falling backwards now.
So I also wanted to show you a secret beach. It's so beautiful. We were here yesterday. I think it's going to be empty.
But I was only falling backwards now. On my way back to you, falling backwards now. On my way back to you. Don't
It's crazy to think how close we were for none of this happening. Because if you had asked me as little as a year ago, I would have told you that we would live this exact life as soon as our circumstances allowed us to. And as much as we tried to force time to make it all happen, absolutely nothing changed. Until we, ourselves, became the circumstance and left. Not because everything suddenly fell into place, but because we realized that waiting for the perfect timing would never bring us closer to the life we actually dreamt of. And trust me, going against what we have always been taught as being common sense was everything but easy. But when someone thinks of us as lucky, I want to practice not always telling them how much we sacrificed to get here and how many fears and obstacles we had to overcome. Because even if that's truth, and I don't mind sharing the hardships of life, truth is also that we are lucky. Not for living in a van or watching a sunset in Portugal. We are lucky because our eyes opened this morning. Not everyone's did. Meeting someone like Linda, who has a story of her own, and one that almost could have cost her her life, just makes it even more profound how precious each moment truly is. So, if your eyes opened this morning, you too are amongst the lucky ones. Because you still have the possibility to create anything you want. And if that can inspire only one of you to take the wildest, most scary leap in your life this far, I don't know, it would just be incredible. I believe the more people to call you crazy, the more you know that you are on the right path. And speaking of precious moments, I think that every one of us at some point have had a moment that was so sincere that we felt like our life was a movie, and that we in some way, even if subconsciously, will spend the rest of our lives seeking events that holds the potential to one day recreate that feeling of when everything was perfect.
Good morning, guys. We just woke up at this beautiful camp spot where we spent the night, and we just had this incredible, really slow, beautiful morning where we have kind of, been together, but still every one of us has been doing our own thing. Just to have a coffee and to get everything done for the van, to be able to take a shower, all that mundane things that just feels so much richer when you do it like this together at this place. And I'm also so happy that we found this camp spot. It's super cozy, and I'm so grateful that we had this spot where we could party together like this. It's like we've been having our own little garden or backyard. So yeah, I think we are just want to, relax into this vibe a little bit longer, having some breakfast together. I don't know, I guess we will find out a beach where we can hang out today, where Billie is welcome as well. And The weather is supposed to be beautiful, so yes, I think that's what the day will look like for us today.
Drowning in your reasons why. Talk is cheap, but we're wasting time. So hold to all their fears.
There is something I need to tell you about Portugal. The beaches here are just wild. I mean, nature is always beautiful, but this is just, I don't know, I almost feel ridiculous even trying to explain the awe that hit me when I first laid eyes on this beach. We actually hesitated about traveling along the Algarve coast at all after reading a lot about the difficulties of finding legal park-ups for the van, especially at night. And yes, not all park-ups are as streamy as you would hope, and it can be a little bit of a hustle since you can't just pick and choose freely. But when you get all this in return, I mean, how can something even be this perfect? One of our favorite beaches was Praia da Falésia, where you instantly get struck by the towering cliffs that line the beach, painted in vivid shades of red, orange, and white. These are ancient sandstones that took millions of years to sculpt. A relentless artistry by nature, carved by the wind, rain, and the steady rhythm of the sea. The deep crimson hues come from iron-rich minerals, creating a breathtaking contrast against the golden sands and the wild blue sea. It truly felt like we had stepped into another world.
We are going to build a camp! Going to clean up this place a little bit first.
Ljuslyktan och...
Ja, det kommer bli så
Var ska vi ha hängmattan?
You know what feels as a real trap? Our beliefs about growing up. It's not even that you're necessarily told to act in a certain way. It's more of a silent agreement, something implicit, of that some things belong to your younger days and naturally fade as you grow up. For example, as we become adults, somewhere along the way, we just stop making those deep, obsessive friendships we have as kids. You know, the kind where you would want to hang out every day, do everything together, and having sleepovers was everything. Back then, we always had the energy for it, never tired of messing around, coming up with games and building forts that felt like our own little world. But as adults, we don't really get that anymore. We settle into routines, and suddenly it's harder to connect, to find that same excitement in just being with someone. I mean, when was the last time you built a fort with a newfound grown-up friend? Not saying that's everyone's longing, but honestly, that's a part of van life which I love so much. It's like we're out here still building forts, just on wheels now, spending hours making them into the perfect place to play, sharing stories all night long, and creating these little spaces of freedom. It's a reminder that maybe we don't have to be so far from those kids who just wanted to build, explore, and be together. Living on the road clearly brings into mind how fleeting everything in life is, and how strongly we are all tied to our own personal journeys, even when we have the honor of sharing pieces of them with others. And that's a part of its beauty. All the changes that might go unnoticed in our everyday lives just won't go unseen here. One moment it exists, the next it doesn't. Our experiences becomes such treasures when we are aware of the end to come. Because no matter how hard we try to hold on to something, nothing is ever truly ours to keep. Souls meet and whisper stories of forever, when forever is really just a moment. And there's an entire universe beyond what any word can say. But once we learn that we are all seamlessly connected, we can finally set each other free. Because then we know that I'm within you and you are within me, forever in this moment.